Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Cricket Corner podcast with me, Vatsal Vora. And once again, I am joined by three of my best friends who have been here multiple times now. You already know who I am talking about. We have Dwij, Nachiket, and Yash Purohit once again, because once again we are talking about Indian cricket in the midst of the Ashes. We as we Today we take a slight detour from the regular Ashes programming on the Cricket Corner podcast to talk about India's squads for the upcoming Test and One Day series against the West Indies. And as it is the norm with these recent Indian related issues, let's welcome Nachiket. Hi Nachiket, how are you doing?
All good, Vatsal. Thanks for having us back again.
Yeah, no worries, man. Hi, Dwij. What's up, man? I'm your. Are you looking forward to recording from a new atmosphere and a new city altogether?
Yes, I was absolutely looking forward.
Yeah, thanks, man. And Yash, what's up?
All good, man. Thank you for inviting again.
Yeah, it's a really delicate topic which we have been talking when we all are together, and we have basically covered the World Test Championship final. We did the preview, did the review as well. And since we talked about Test cricket for the past couple of months, past couple of weeks, I think it's only right that we have these three fellow friends of mine who to talk about the upcoming Test series against the West Indies. There has been an interesting squad named. To be honest with you, there haven't been much changes in the squad, but the couple of changes which the Indian selectors have made is quite interesting and worth talking about. So before we start with the proceedings and the discussion on these squads, let me just briefly name the squad. Rohit Sharma will be the captain. There's Shubman Gill, Ruturaj Gaikwad is in, Virat Kohli, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Ajinkya Rahane is the vice captain, Shrikar Bharat, Ishan Kishan, Ravi Jadeja, Ravichandran Ashwin, Shardul Thakur, Akshar Patel, Mohammad Shami, Mukesh Kumar, Jaidev Unadkat, and Navdeep Saini. So I think since if you have listened, if you're listening to this squad in and you might have noticed that there have been a couple of players who have been left out of this test squad. Most notably, there have been the exclusion of Cheteshwar Pujara and Mohammad Shami. And there is also the absentee in the form of Umesh Yadav. So, Nachiket, let's start with you and let's talk about the obvious exclusion first, because I feel like Shami and Umesh Yadav well kind of rested in a way, but Cheteshwar Pujara is one of the big absentees because he doesn't play international, he doesn't play limited overs international cricket for India, and whenever there has been a test series, be it home or away, he has been the first name in the squad. But for the first time in nearly, I don't know, like a decade, there's a test squad without the name of Cheteshwar Pujara in it. So what are your thoughts regarding the same?
Well, it was coming. The World
Yeah,
Test Championship final was, one of his last chances. Maybe he might also come back. We might again be discussing his inclusion back in the squad in some months. But his string of performances were very poor in some of the matches. In Border Gavaskar Trophy, also he did okay. He did not overperform or he did not underperform, but based on his high standards, he had a bit of a dip, and we have been
yeah,
noticing it since some time. Cheteshwar Pujara and Rahane were dropped together, but Cheteshwar Pujara had scored heavily in the time he played domestic cricket over there in India, but
yeah.
he was back in the squad. And but after his comeback, he hasn't been able to seal his spot. That's the thing. So we might see him again as he's going to play Duleep Trophy. So we might see him score those daddy hundreds again, get his confidence back, and maybe after the World
Yeah.
Cup, make a comeback of sorts. But it was pretty much coming if he didn't perform in the World Test Championship.
That's an interesting point which you made, that there is a possibility that we can still see Cheteshwar Pujara play for India in the white form, in the white cricket. Oh, white, I mean Test cricket. But Yash, I want to ask you about this. Do you think it is the right move, and do you think it's the right call by the selectors to start moving away from these players who have who are in the twilight of their years. Because let's be honest, even if Cheteshwar Pujara does come back to the Indian setup, there's barely a year and a half, maximum 2 years he can contribute to the proceedings for India. Do you think it's the right time for someone like for the Indian selectors to try someone like Yashasvi Jaiswal or probably Ruturaj Gaikwad as well? Do you think it's the right call that the selectors have made? Because don't get me wrong, Cheteshwar Pujara is a modern day great for India as far as the test format is concerned. But so what are your thoughts on the same?
So like I saw some of the familiar faces in the test squad, and like answering your question, I think this would be a right approach for BCCI
Yes.
in the direction that they are going. I think some of these young bloods and these new upcoming age cricketers, of course, like test match being one of the pinnacle of cricket, it's some sort of an endurance race, and like
Yes.
it's a give or take situation. So I think they can get you that quick runs, which sometimes the openers, they fail to get. For example, like Rohit Sharma, to name.
Yeah.
So we have a steady number 3 or 4 who can get that quick runs. Maybe, stay on the crease as long as possible and cover up the gap which the openers lack these days. Like as we know, even Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma are currently not in their best forms. So I
Yeah.
think these young bloods, they can, try to drive the runs in a much consistent way, get more scores on the board. If I can use the word, I think India should go for the baseball approach,
Yeah.
getting
Nice one.
scoring quick runs. So I think
Yeah.
this is the right way, and like they need to do some R&D on that as well. So
That-
it's going to be a big risk going ahead, because Cheteshwar Pujara, don't get me wrong, like one of the brilliant test batsmen. He knows his
Yeah.
place. We
Yeah.
are aware of his contribution through and through. But I think it's time to try some new, because like, man, we are just tired.
uh, Dwij, let's come to you here. And firstly, I have two questions for you. Firstly, what are your thoughts on Cheteshwar Pujara's? I should I use the word being dropped from the side? I don't think this is a rest. I think there's a reason why he's not there in the squad. I think he's rightfully dropped. But um, what are your thoughts on the same? And Yash talked briefly touched upon potential replacements and the young blood which has been introduced into the squad. We have Ruturaj Gaikwad and Yashasvi Jaiswal in the side. First of all, your thoughts on Pujara being dropped, and secondly, who would you ideally want him to be replaced by?
Well, I think it's an interesting selection. I think Cheteshwar Pujara wasn't performing up to his levels, which he had set for
Yes.
himself since many years. So I think a series in West Indies is somehow you can experiment with the squad in order to build it for the future. And I think Ruturaj Gaikwad is an excellent pick. I would have
Mm-hmm.
personally, if I was the Indian selector, I would have personally preferred him to bat at number 3, fill in that void by Cheteshwar Pujara, because
Yeah.
even we have seen him mostly in T20s for CSK. We haven't seen him much in the Indian jersey, but whatever we have seen in CSK colors, I think his technique is absolutely spot on. And also seeing him live, I have got the privilege of seeing him live. I can say that he's one of the most flawless batsmen in India currently, who relies purely on timing. And I think all his abilities to leave the balls alone, even in T20s, that only dictates how much strong technically sound he is. So I think uh, if India needed to experiment, this was a great chance for them, and they have done that. And I think our top four should be Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill. At 3 should be Ruturaj, and 4th should be Virat Kohli for this test series. I think it should be a great chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to briefly touch upon the top order like you did, but it's glad that you made that point early in this podcast, so we can now talk about that. Nachiket, I want your thoughts on the top four, because I kind of agree with what Dwij just mentioned, with Sharma and Gill opening, with Ruturaj Gaikwad at number 3 and Virat Kohli at 4, and assuming Rahane will keep his place at number 5. But there are possibilities, there are permutations and combinations here and there as well. You can either open with Ruturaj Gaikwad. You can have Shubman Gill as a number 3. You can open with Yashasvi Jaiswal as well, because he has been part of the Indian Test setup. He was part of the Test squad, even as a reserve in the World Test Championship final. Do you think it's either Gaikwad and Jaiswal to open with Gill at number 3 in the long run, or do you still want to see Gill open? And I think Gaikwad and Jaiswal at number 3. What are your thoughts on the same?
Well, currently, if we look at this particular series, I don't think Rohit Sharma is leaving for a year or two, maybe. So his spot is sealed. The captain will, of course, play. So Rohit Sharma and Gill would be my choice. Gill is someone who can, play anywhere between number 1 to number 5. He has
Yeah.
even been touted as potential, a replacement of Pujara before too at number 3.
Yes. Yes.
He's someone who can fit in anywhere in the batting order. But for this series, even I had noted down my 11. So my top 4 were exactly the same as Dwich. Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill opening the inning, followed by Ruturaj at 3 and Virat Kohli at 4. But they might also consider Gill at 3 and Ruturaj comforting him into the
Yeah.
setup. So they can shuffle as their, as they want to. But I'd rather go with this one.
I think we have talked enough about Pujara and his position and his potential replacements. Before we talk about the next big thing, I want to briefly touch upon the other exclusions from the squad, and those are the exclusions of Mohammad Shami and Umesh Yadav. I'm 100% sure there is no way you can drop Mohammad Shami. He is 100% being rested. Same cannot be said about Umesh Yadav, but he is not part of the squad. Which I wanted your opinions on the bowling lineup, because in the test we have Mohammad Siraj, Jaydev Unadkat, Mukesh Kumar, and Navdeep Saini. Navdeep Saini played an important role in that Gabba series. Like, I refer to it as the Gabba series. Now we all know we are talking about the Border Gavaskar Trophy from early 2021. What are your thoughts on the bowling lineup? Do you think the exclusion of Shami is going to be a big hole to fill, or do you think the likes of Unadkat, Saini, and Mukesh Kumar are very much capable of filling in that void, assuming Mohammad Siraj is your go-to starter?
Yes, I think as I mentioned earlier also, this was a series in which we knew that there might be some reshuffling by the
Yes.
Indian selectors just to test some new players. And I don't think that, I think Mukesh Kumar is quite a decent bowler. And
Yeah.
Jaydev Unadkat and Saini have also been there in this Indian setup for quite some time now. So they might be good replacements for these two. But personally speaking, I think in the West Indies, again, India should go back to the tried and tested formula of playing Ashwin, Akshar, and Jadeja as the
Yeah.
3 spinners, along with Siraj and either of Shardul or Mukesh Kumar if you want to get in a right arm quick. But I think again, in no test match should India ever drop R Ashwin. We already saw the consequences of that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think
Yes.
he will be the guaranteed filler in place of Umesh Yadav, who was acting as the third seamer. And again, I think one of the seamers leaving will again open up the place for Akshar Patel. So I think my 5 bowlers definitely in the starting 11 would be Jadeja, Akshar, Ashwin, followed by Siraj and Shardul.
So do you think there is still no place for someone like Unadkat, because he's been traveling with the squad for quite some time now? What are your thoughts on that?
I think, personally speaking, I'm not that much of a fan of Jaydev Unadkat. India has given him many opportunities in the past
Yeah,
as well,
true.
but he hasn't been able to find that consistency in order to cement his place in the starting 11, like other bowlers like Siraj and Umesh Yadav have done. So I think
Yeah.
if in certain situations wherein some player suddenly gets a knock here or there, in that situation, and plus if you want to have that right arm left arm seamer combination in your side,
Yeah.
then Unadkat can be a good option. But personally, I would go with these 3 spinners with 2 quicks.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point you made, and I really like the point about Ashwin which you just made, and how big of a miss he was during the World Test Championship final. This is a point which all of us would agree, and I guess Yash, you are on the same boat as well, that Ashwin is someone who is completely undroppable from the Indian Test starting 11 at least, because not only he is one of the best, if not the best spinners in the current generation of cricket fraternity around Test cricket in general, but also he gives you healthy contributions with the bat as well. I'm sure you completely agree with that. But what are your opinions on that? Do you think Ashwin was a big miss, and do you think he is like one of the undroppable players from the team?
Of course, like we missed him a lot in the WTC final,
Yes,
and that
yes,
was like the revelation that you just cannot drop him. He does his bowling, he does his batting, and he is Mr. Consistent. So I think
yeah,
it still hurts to see like how did he miss the spot. So it's going to be a like great year for him as well.
yeah.
And to the point, like I think Mohammad Shami probably they have given him rest as like the
He's
upcoming
played a lot
Asia
of
Cup.
cricket.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
has played a
Asia Cup.
lot of
Yeah,
cricket in the last 6 months, and we have Asia Cup coming as well. So we might
yeah.
need our pace back. So like it was a good decision to rest him for this series, and I don't think it would be a major like miss for him to say.
Yeah, Nachiket, I want to come back to you on this one, and I want to put you on the spot once again. You named your top five batsmen in the order. I want to you to name your top, not top five, but like the five bowlers who will play in the West Indies Test series, because Dwij made quite a interesting point there. He went there with three spinners like we did in the Border Gavaskar Trophy, and opted to go for Shardul Thakur in place of the likes of Saini, Mukesh Kumar, and Jaydev Unadkat. What are your thoughts on the same? First, would you still go with three spinners? And if not, who is the one quick which is coming in to replace one of the spinners?
Right. So personally, I haven't followed much cricket in the West Indies to, have a fair idea of what
Makes
the
sense.
pitches are behaving of late. But if you see that pitches are pretty much dry, but even in the past Test series against India, West Indies had gone on with two spinners,
Yes.
and India having an option of three spinners. Akshar Patel has, been a great consistent cricketer once
Yeah.
ever since he has been made his debut in the Test arena. But I think
Yeah.
that three pacers should do the trick over here. And I would give a chance to Jaydev Unadkat purely based on the form that Navdeep Saini and Mukesh Kumar are two of the newcomers. If you see,
Yes.
yes, Saini has been there with the team, but they are he's making a comeback. Shardul, see, Siraj is the first bowler on the list along with Ashwin. Both of
Yeah.
them are pretty much, both of them and Jadeja, they'll definitely be playing. So my
Yes.
five bowler combination would be Jaydev Unadkat, Mohammad Siraj, Shardul Thakur, Ashwin, and Ravi Jadeja. Unadkat just purely based on the fact that he's been with the Test team since
Yeah.
the last 6 months, I guess. He played against Bangladesh in December. So ever since he's been there, and it would not be fair to have a player on the sidelines. And ever since your first couple of
Yeah.
choice pacers are out of the squad, I think he deserves a chance over here. And also the
Amazing.
left-handed angle would make a difference. I think he
Good point.
deserves a chance. He deserves a chance that he's made a comeback. He's earned his spot back in the team. So I think that he should be given a go in this series. And depending on the conditions, let's say if need be that we have to use three spinners, then I would definitely have Akshar Patel back in place of Shardul Thakur, because
Yes.
Shardul Thakur is a good third pacer. I would not go with him if India only has to play two pacers. And
You
Akshar
make
is
sense.
slightly a better batsman, slightly a better batsman than Shardul Thakur.
Yeah.
He has Shardul has played clutch innings for India in the Test
Yeah.
arena, but
Obviously.
if
Lord
if
for a reason.
yes, exactly. So if we have
Yeah.
to play three spinners, I think that we need a specialist pacer in form of Unadkat.
Unadkat. Yeah. This is probably, it is so nice to see someone like Mohammad Siraj, who has had such a meteoric rise in Test cricket in general. He will be like leading our bowling attack probably for the first time in his career, and it will be
Correct.
fantastic to see him do that, because I really believe he has the capabilities of doing that. I think he's done it with Bangalore as well. But
He
basically,
led
what
the
you're trying,
attack in the 2020 BGT too.
Oh yeah,
Very-
yes, in the early stages of his career as well.
Exactly.
Yes,
He was
yes.
very
I think,
young at that time.
yeah, I haven't been impressed by a newcomer as much as Mohammad Siraj has, but he can't be considered a newcomer now. He's been in the test setup for 3 years now, but still, it is going to be a fantastic thing for him to see him lead the attack. And I kind of agreed with you that if you are playing three spinners, you need possibly a proper bowler instead of a seam bowling all rounder. So that in form of Shardul Thakur. But Nachiket, like we always do, we have to talk about the wicket keeping scenario because the absence of Rishabh Pant has led to us questioning the pick between Ishan Kishan and Shrikar Bharat. I think when we recorded the preview episode for the World Test Championship final, two of us went with Ishan Kishan, two of us went with Shrikar Bharat. It was eventually Shrikar Bharat who played in the World Test Championship final, but once again, he didn't have a lot of contribution with the bat. 5 in the first innings, 23 in the second innings. So he hasn't lived up to the standards we all expect our wicket keeping batsmen to. Do you think the West Indies series is the ideal time to give Ishan Kishan a debut and see what he can do in the test setup?
100%, because let's say he has been given 5 test matches, Shrikar Bharat,
Yes.
and basically 10 innings he hasn't had a notable contribution.
Yeah.
When he's on the crease, I don't really have that trust that
Confidence.
there's
Yes.
a solid batsman in here.
Yeah.
He's a good wicket keeper, a bit better than Ishan Kishan. But see, this is a series where ideally I don't think that a wicket keeper's batting would matter, because the kind of top order and middle order India have, along with
Yeah.
Shardul Thakur, Ashwin, or Akshar Patel, whoever plays. So Bharat might get away with a few another. They might say that, okay, this is the last chance for you. Rishabh Pant will be
Yes.
making a comeback in the anytime in the next 6 months. So they might give a go to Ishan Kishan, keeping in mind that who will they need as a backup in the future to Rishabh Pant. And let's say this might be a direct competition that, okay, Bharat has had his chances. Now it's time for Ishan to have a couple of games, and then we'll maybe decide as who'll be the backup to Rishabh Pant in the
Yes.
future. So this may
Yes.
be the case. I would 100% go with Ishan Kishan over here, because as we are experimenting a few things, then we might have a good player in here in Ishan Kishan who can play some good innings, even score 100. He has the potential to
Yeah.
do that. So it
Yeah.
would be a good taste of for him to get some test runs behind him.
Yeah. Yash, let's come to you regarding Ishan Kishan, because Ishan Kishan plays for the team you support in the IPL. At least he plays for the Mumbai Indians. You have seen him play closely for a number of years now. The thing with Ishan Kishan is that we have never doubted his batting capabilities. It's just his consistency in the white ball arena which has led to us having a few question marks regarding his selection in the test setup. But as I said, there is a really good batsman out there, and he is the one who is, if not the closest person to how Rishabh Pant plays. That counter-attacking style of play which we have known Rishabh Pant for the last couple of years now, and Ishan Kishan is very much capable of doing that. And judging by what Nachiket said, I think he's 100% confident that we should go with Ishan Kishan. Are you in the same boat? Do you think it's high time we try someone like Ishan Kishan in the test setup?
Yeah, I think after WTC he should be given a chance as a
Yeah.
wicket keeper, and he can bat really well at, I think, number 5, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Also, like, I would like to add, like, last week there was this interview with Ashwin where he said that earlier the whole Indian cricket team, they used to be friends, but now they
Yeah.
are colleagues. So
Yeah.
if you see
Yeah.
all the other young players like Shubman Gill, Ruturaj Gaikwad, to name a
Yes.
few, he has some pretty good competition as well. So there you might be see a clash of egos. So he
Yes.
has this perfect platform to perform, to be consistent, and I think we have a great wicketkeeper batsman for our test, unless RP returns.
Yeah.
So
And yeah. Go ahead.
and like he should be, I think, given chance over KS Bharat, because we know like how
Yeah.
I don't like to use the word bad, but
Yeah, he's been underperforming and
Performing,
underwhelming
yes,
to say the
yes.
least. But and Nachiket, one more point I think which makes sense is that if you go with Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, and Ruturaj Gaikwad as your top three, then there's obviously Virat Kohli and um, Ajinkya Rahane, sorry, at number 4 and 5. You need a left-hander option as well, because if you don't pick Ishan Kishan, then your left-hander comes all the way down at number 6 or 7 in the form of Ravindra Jadeja. So I feel like that is also a reason why he should have an upper hand over Bharat.
Well, of course, you need some, variety in
Variety.
your batting
Yeah.
order. So I think that would be a good factor too. That would back his place, back his inclusion. And overall, I'd say I'd much rather prefer Kishan over him. He's a good wicket keeper, not as good as a Saha or let's say Bharat, who is his
Yeah.
competition right now. But we need those runs. We need those contributions. As since the last 6 months, you've seen in Test cricket, our top order and middle order haven't been scoring heavily. So
Yeah.
in that case, we need a wicket keeper who can chip in with some, handy
Crucial.
contribution. So
Yeah.
I would 100% go with him now.
Because the thing is, our top order has been quite dicey in the last couple of test series as well. So you expect our lower order to give you runs, and if Shikhar Bharat is not able to do that, then we have a ready-made replacement in the form of Ishan Kishan. So why not try him as well? But Nachiket, we briefly touched about the potential replacements for Cheteshwar Pujara. Sorry, earlier in this podcast we talked about Ruturaj Gaikwad. We talk about Yashasvi Jaiswal as well. But there have been multiple omissions from the test squad in the name of Abhimanyu Ishwaran. There's Priyank Panchal. There's obviously Sarfaraz Khan. He has been amongst in and around the test squad. Like whenever a test squad is announced and he is not there, it's the first question which comes up. That where is Sarfaraz Khan? What are your thoughts on this? Because there have been people questioning the Indian team selection, particularly for the test side, because sometimes the selectors tend to look into the IPL form and not the Ranji form, because but then you have to look at the Ranji form because that's your first class cricket. What side of the fence do you sit when it comes to these arguments?
It's absolutely a valid debate that why these guys aren't been given,
Yeah,
chance ahead of the ones who have been given in the form of Ruturaj and Yashasvi Jaiswal. Um, this has been a years old debate that why people are picked up based on their IPL forms rather
yeah,
than the runs being awarded.
yeah,
Simple reason being that we have seen many batsmen come into the IPL when they face the Ranji stalwarts come into the IPL and face some of the international quicks who are bowling at 140, 145, 150 in certain cases,
yes,
and they haven't been comfortable with that.
yeah,
And mind you, they've been scoring thousands of runs each season. Ishwaran, you talk about Sarfaraz Khan, he was very close to being picked in the Indian team. He's someone who
yeah,
can still have a good future in the Indian Test squad.
yeah,
But speaking about Priyank Panchal, he's been a great servant for Gujarat. Ishwaran has
yes,
been great for Bengal. But
yes,
they just do not give me a I'm just giving my personal opinion. They just not give
yeah,
me a confidence that a Ruturaj or Jaiswal would give. Ruturaj hasn't been faced by any bowler. He has been counter attacking all the big names in the IPL, big overseas players in the IPL. Of course, a different ball game, Test cricket, but all the small glimpses that we have had of these players, I am not getting a confident feeling of any of the Ranji stalwart, the up and coming Ranji players
yeah,
right now. I just don't have a feeling that they might make it big, instant impact. Because earlier there used to be a time that we had been waiting list of batsmen 10 years ago, 15 years
yes,
ago. All of them were world class, potentially world class. We've had
yes.
many names who scored 10 to 15,000 runs in Ranji Trophy, but haven't got a hit at the international level.
Mm-hmm.
The pool is very small right now, and Indian Test cricket has to go through a transition that maybe we went through 10 years ago, when the big three of Indian cricket, big four of Indian cricket were replaced by Kohli, Rahane, Cheteshwar Pujara, Rohit Sharma eventually.
Yes.
So we are going through a lot of changes. We will go through a lot of changes. Rahane is 35, 36. Kohli is of a
Yeah,
similar age.
yeah,
Rohit Sharma is of similar age. Mohammad Shami, Umesh Yadav, everyone are aging. So we need
yes,
to try our options now. We have these bankable players. They are talents that have no limits. Ruturaj
yeah,
Gaikwad, Shubman Gill, Yashasvi Jaipal, they have a very, very high ceiling. So I think that it's correct that they are being given chances this early in their careers where their confidence is sky high. They've had
yeah,
good. They've scored good amount of runs. Maybe not triple hundreds in the Ranji Trophy, but they have the confidence of straight away delivering against someone who can swing the ball and bowl at a quick
yes.
pace. So I think the selection is completely justified.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Nachiket here. And Yash, I wanted to know your opinions before we shift our focus to the one day squad, which has been announced as well. I think that the point which Nachiket made was quite a good one, and I think he talked about the exposure which these young players have received. Don't get me wrong, scoring 1,000 runs in a Ranji season is a remarkable achievement in its own rights. But there is a kind of difference in facing, a Ranji kind of a bowler compared to someone like Josh Hazelwood or Kagiso Rabada, Sunil Narayan, those kind of players. Do you think it's the exposure which these young players have received from the IPL is the reason why they have been picked ahead of the likes of Priyank Panchal and Sarfaraz Khan? Do you think that's a valid justification?
Like it's a 50-50 for me. And like
Yeah,
the same thing, like I would like to ask to you both is like, I simply sometimes don't understand how BCCI do their selection. Most of
yeah,
the time, like as you say that these 2 to 3 players, they have been picked on their performance in the IPL, which is T20. So they are
yeah,
picking it for the test team. But during the T20 ones, they won't be picking these guys, and they would pick some another from either a test if they had a good test run or a good one day run. So I think at some
yeah.
stage, even BCCI is also, they are making some
Oh,
really bad decisions.
mhm. Yeah, like that's a valid point, but I think the reason why these players have got the nod because I think even you agree for a fact that the likes of Gaikwad, Gill, and Jaiswal are top notch when it comes to talent. I'm
Yeah,
completely I think you agree on that
yeah.
lines. I think the reason why I think there is some recency bias because we just had the IPL, they just had a really good series. Something like a Ranji Trophy was over well before the IPL started. Maybe that could be a reason as well. But I kind of agree that why they are in the squads because no disrespect to a team like West Indies, but it is a team that we are expected to beat and beat quite comfortably. So why not try these players in a series which we don't have much risk of losing? I kind of get the idea why we didn't go with Ishan Kishan in the World Test Championship final and went with someone tried and tested like Shrikar Bharat. But I think these are the kind of series, the series against Bangladesh, a one-off test against Afghanistan and Ireland. I think these are the uh, kind of opportunities which the youngsters crave for, and I'm glad they're getting the chances.
But like also the names that you mentioned who didn't get picked, even though they performed brilliantly in
Yeah,
Ranji. So even they should be given chances
they warrant a chance as
because
well.
yeah, because like I think these guys they crave to get a call from the BCCI, even
Yeah,
playing against teams like Bangladesh and West Indies or Afghanistan would give them a good morale boost to them. And I think we might miss on some really good talent
talent.
pool
Yeah,
if we are not including them in the test team.
yeah. I think Nachiket, this is an argument which is going to ramble on for a lot of time, and it could have been a podcast in its own rights. But I wanted to quickly move to the ODI squad as well. But before we do that, can I get your Test 11 for the first Test match in West Indies?
Okay, so my 11 goes in as
Yes.
Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Ruturaj Gaikwad. Gill and Ruturaj can maybe swap their places. Either of
Yeah.
Ruturaj and Gill can open.
Yeah.
Followed by Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, Ravindra Jadeja, Ishan Kishan, Shardul or Akshar Patel based on the pitch and conditions,
Yeah.
Ashwin, Jaydev Unadkat, and Mohammad Siraj.
And Yash, would you make any changes to this setup, or do you think this is like the strongest side we can put in the first
I
test match?
think I think I would choose Navdeep Saini in place of Unadkat.
Fair enough. That's yeah. I think Umesh Yadav. Sorry, not Umesh Yadav. Jaidev Unadkat, Mukesh Kumar, and Navdeep Saini have like an equal chance of getting picked because we don't see Mohammad Siraj being dropped anytime soon from this test setup. So yeah, we have talked about the test team quite a lot because test cricket is in the end what excites us and makes us talk about cricket in the first place. But India also named their one day squad for the upcoming series in West Indies. So just to remind the listeners and the viewers who don't know about how the series in West Indies is going to go, we have two test matches starting from the 12th of July. Then we have three one-day internationals starting from the 27th of July. And then we are going to play five T20s as well, with I think two or three being played in Florida in United States as well. But as far as at the time of recording this podcast, the T20 squad has not been announced, but the one day squad has been. And the one day squad goes as follows: Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Ruturaj Gaikwad, Virat Kohli, Surya Kumar Yadav, Sanju Samson, Ishan Kishan, Hardik Pandya as the vice captain, Shardul Thakur, Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel, Yuzi Chahal, Kuldeep Yadav, Jaidev Unadkat, Mohammad Siraj, Umran Malik, and Mukesh Kumar. So Nachiket, let's briefly talk about the one day setup as well, and we won't dwell into one day squad a lot like we did for the test squad, but still we need to talk something about it. What are your initial thoughts? Because there have been certain players who are multi-format and are part of the test setup as well and the one day setup as well, and you can see the obvious inclusions of the likes of Sanju Samson, Hardik Pandya, and the likes of UC Chahal, Kuldeep Yadav, and those were the players who were expected to make the cut for the one day squad. So what are your initial thoughts? Because if you personally ask me, I'm quite happy with this one day squad which has been announced.
This is pretty much a full strength squad that we can have. We'll only have three additions to this come the World Cup.
Yeah.
Of course, considering that Rishabh Pant won't be able to make it to the World Cup as he's going through his rehab. So the
Yes.
only changes I'd see is Shreyas Iyer coming back, Jasprit
Yeah.
Bumrah coming back, and KL Rahul coming back. Other than
Yes.
that, this is pretty much the full strength team that we are seeing over here. So it's
So
a decent squad. Yeah.
yeah. So possibly, let's say if you recall Jasprit Bumrah, then I guess someone like Mukesh Kumar or Umran Malik can make the way, because we still will be having Mohammad Shami returning to this one day
Oh
setup
yes,
as well.
I missed the name.
Yeah.
Mohammad Shami
So
too, right?
yeah. So I think if Mohammad Shami and Jasprit Bumrah come back, I think two of either Jainev Unadkat, Umran Malik, and Mukesh Kumar will make the way. If I guess that's the right way of looking at things.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Umran Malik has been with the ODI setup
Setup. Yeah.
since almost the last 1 year. But
Yes.
we always have to make some tough decisions in the World Cup. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll see a couple of harsh exclusions in the ODI team.
Talking about
I
harsh.
would,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
if I in this current bowling lineup, if I have to get back Bumrah and Shami back, I would rather keep Umran Malik. I would
Yes, me
have them in
too.
place of Mukesh Kumar and Jaidev Unadkat.
Yeah, I guess that is a valid point. And there is also no Ravichandran Ashwin, which I just noticed. Do you think that's a right call? I think that's a tough one, isn't it?
I feel except the T20s, he should be a regular feature in both the formats.
Yes.
This would have been his last World Cup, and we have seen that even in T20 World Cup, he was picked almost out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
he did perform decently. He did not pick wickets, but he performed decently. So
Yeah.
having some experience like him is crucial for India because this is not a highly experienced side. There are
Yes.
players who have been around the circuit for a long time, but they haven't had exposure in the big knockout
Yeah.
tournaments which Ashwin has had.
So
So I would pick him personally, but it's
you
not in our hands.
I think you briefly mentioned KL Rahul as well, and we have been quite critical about KL Rahul in recent times, be it his place in the one day squad or the test squad. But I think both of us, Nachiket, both of us are quite adamant to see KL Rahul play one-day format in the middle order as our wicketkeeper batsman. Do you think if there is no Rishabh Pant available for the World Cup, I think he would make that way? And if he does, would you rather drop Ishan Kishan or Sanju Samson? Because both of them deserve their place in the starting 11, or at least in the squad.
Yes, touching on the first point, of course, KL Rahul has cemented his place as a wicketkeeper in the ODI setup at least.
Yes, yes,
He's been consistent, he's won games, and he deserves a place. His wicketkeeping has also improved a lot. If I had to drop someone from Ishan Kishan and
Sanju
Sanju
Samson.
Samson, then I would rather go with Sanju Samson based on a simple fact, because we have openers in the form of Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, and Ruturaj Gaikwad.
Yes,
So these are the three openers, and even if you need an extra opener, you have KL Rahul.
yes,
So Ishan Kishan is also an opener. He doesn't bat very low down the order for India. He has opened
yeah,
every time. So I would go with Sanju Samson, who will feature in the middle order or lower order whenever required at the number
yes.
5. So yes, if I had to choose between the two in ODI format, I'd go with Sanju Samson.
Yash, what are your thoughts on Sanju Samson? Because we all expected him to feature in the ODI series, and I'm sure when when the T20 squad is announced, I'm pretty sure we are going to see him in the squad as well. But do you think he'll play ahead of Ishan Kishan? Do you think he's the guy to go with the gloves, particularly when we don't have Rishabh Pant in the current scenario?
I think like after like he had a good decent IPL if we compare it to last
Yes,
year. Last year was a better one for him, and I think given the chances like he has been given, we haven't still I think utilized him to the fullest. So I think he should
yeah,
get an exception this time. Maybe he can prove do some good batting or get behind the wickets as well, because I think as a batsman wicketkeeper we have a lot of options, so there is going to be
yeah.
competition. We have Rishabh Pant, we have KL Rahul, we
Ishan
have
Kishan.
Ishan Kishan as well. So I think it's going to be a tough one, but let's see if he should get a chance this time.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the point which I also wanted to make, because someone like Sanju Samson has been quite an interesting topic and interesting case study as far as the Indian cricket is concerned, because in one of the tours he'll get picked for 3 tours, then he won't get picked for 5 tours, and his career as far as the Indian team is concerned has been quite an up and down roller coaster kind of thing. And I really want the selectors to tell him, and the Indian management, Rahul Dravid, to tell him that, boy, you are getting these 3 one-day internationals. Regardless of your form in the first and the second one day, we are going to play you in all these 3 games. Go out there without any pressure, just perform, and let's see where he takes. Because undoubtedly, I think his fans on social media would agree with us saying that he has been sometimes harshly dropped, sometimes fair, sometimes harsh, but there have been a few harsh droppings here and there. So I really want him to, be given some sort of lifeline, some sort of a cushion that you can express yourself uh, in these 3 one-day internationals, and then we'll look into things heading into the World Cup. But Nachiket, as far as the one-day international 11 is concerned, I have listed down a one-day 11 here, and I want you to agree, disagree, make changes based on your understanding. Should we do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think we will continue opening with Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill. Virat Kohli
Correct.
at number 4, Virat Kohli at number 3, Sky at number 4. Then either Sanju Samson or Ishan Kishan, Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja, uh, Kuldeep Yadav, or an extra seamer, depending on the conditions, Yuzvendra Chahal, Mohammad Siraj, and Umran Malik.
Okay, so pretty much the same 11 except the lower order. I would go with
Okay,
Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Virat
Kohli
Kohli,
at 3.
Surya
Yes.
Kumar Yadav, yes, Surya at 4. Sanju
Yeah,
Samson I'd go with because he's better suited to the middle order than Ishan
makes
Kishan.
sense. Yes.
followed by Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja, Shardul Thakur, Kuldeep Yadav, Yuzvendra Chahal, and Mohammad Siraj. Because this is a
Oh,
chance we have a Thakur over here who can play at number 8. Only a good, decent number 8 can allow a pair of Yuzvendra Chahal and Kuldeep
Kuldeep.
Yadav
Yeah.
to operate. We have a
Yes.
third seamer in place in the form of Hardik Pandya. So I'd go with two specialist seamers, Siraj and Thakur.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so three spinners and three fast bowlers basically.
All right. And do you completely trust someone like Sanju Samson to keep wickets for a good spell for the whole 50 overs? Do you, because we haven't seen much of him keeping in one day format. We have seen him keep wicket in the T20 format, but one day is a different ball
I,
game.
I guess he has been regularly in the ODI setup since the last couple of years because as we have also seen that because of the T20 World Cup that we had last year, there were
Yeah.
a lot of experimental changes in the ODI form. With Shikhar Dhawan leading, we almost had a B team. If we can
Yeah.
say all the big names were resting. So he has kept a lot and I think that it shouldn't be a problem. He'll be used to it.
Makes sense. And one final thing which I want to touch upon is Yash, how good is it to see Hardik Pandya back in the Indian setup? Back in the sense he hasn't been dropped or anything, but we played the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Then we had those 3 one-day internationals against Australia. Then the IPL World Test Championship final. We haven't seen much of Hardik Pandya in the Indian blue. So how excited are you to see him back and be named as the vice captain as well?
Like he has been consistent with his bat. He did pretty much like he's a good captain as well. I think he was in the New
Yes,
Zealand series as well. So like it's
yes,
always a pleasure to just see him on the field do his thing, and like it's going to be an adventure because
yeah.
like
Because we
because
all
after the surgery. Hmm.
we can all agree that once we see Hardik Pandya on the pitch, we know he's going to give his 110% to the team.
Yeah, and like he's somebody Mr. Dependable in the middle order as well.
Yeah.
And like especially his comeback has been a story for the ages. Like after having such a harsh surgery to be in the
Yes.
top form, dominate in IPL, dominate in T20, and now soon to be in ODI as well. So like it's going to be pleasure watching him. And I hope he carries this momentum because like he is going to be the wild card for us in the World Cup as well.
Massively.
So
I was just going to say that, and glad you used the term wild card because I completely believe his fitness and his form is going to be really, really important, not only for the World Cup, but if you look in for the short period of time, there's also the Asia Cup, which is going to come as well, which is the second most important tournament which India will face which India will compete in this 2023 cycle of one-day cricket. So yeah, I think Hardik Pandya is like the bridge between the Indian batting and the Indian bowling. He's right there in the middle. He can do both the things really, really well. And I am really excited to see how he goes, not only in the West Indies series, but in the Asia Cup and the World Cup as well.
yeah, and he
I
also has
think
been a very good clutch player in some of the ICC trophies as well,
yes.
ICC tournaments as well when we have been chasing. So he can come down, bat at number 6, stabilize the innings, get
Hmm.
the quick runs, and it's
Yeah.
going to be fun.
Yes, I think we have covered all the points which we wanted to in this podcast. We talked heavily about Test cricket. We briefly brushed upon the one-day squad as well. And yeah, I think it is going to be one hell of a series, but a hell of a series in the sense relatively easy as far as the Indians are concerned. Nachiket, your predictions 2-0 India in the Test series? Because I personally think it is going to be 2-0.
Same man, 2-0. At most 1-0, they can draw a match, but I think that we'll pretty much win both the test matches as we have a bowling attack easily capable
Yeah,
of taking 20 wickets at ease.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
also this batting lineup will also have something to prove after the World Test Championship failure.
Debacle.
So
Yeah.
absolutely, I'm going with a 2-0 win in the test and a clean sweep in the ODIs too.
Yes. And what about you, Yash? What are your predictions? Because I kind of agree you will go with 2-0 as well, but still I
Of
wanted to
course,
hear from you.
2-0. Let's get some good runs on the board. We need to get both of our
Yeah.
finest batsmen form back, Virat Kohli and
Yes,
Rohit
that's a good
Sharma.
point.
We
Good
need
point.
to buckle up. We need to, these are the matches which will get us good points for the WTC as well. So
Mhm.
just go right there, do it easy peasy, just like that.
Yeah,
Just dominate it, because we are we cannot be weak, man, against such teams. We just cannot
yeah.
lose. Even a draw
Particularly,
won't be acceptable.
yeah, I kind of agree. But yeah, sometimes the weather in West Indies, there is rain around, sometimes there isn't. So obviously, I think the weather is the only reason why a match could end in a draw, because I don't see how India play Test cricket. I don't see a draw happening with both sides playing for the full 5 days. But if you ask me personally, I would rather go for a 2-1 win in the 1 day series at least. Don't get me wrong, 2-0 in Test is going to happen. I rather have 2-1. I think a win is more important. I think West Indies 1 day squad, they're not world beaters, but they are good enough players who can trouble on their days. So that's my prediction. And so yeah, I think that's it. Nachiket, any parting thoughts?
Well, it was a good, healthy discussion on the tour.
Yes,
Immediately, fresh reactions coming in on the same day after the squads were announced.
yes,
So this is the time for India to, pull the socks up for the World Cup in 3 or 4 months now. Be in a mode that after the two test matches, we have to be completely focused on the World Cup now. All the
yeah.
players have to fight for their places in the 11. We have 7, 8 places sealed, but we still have a fight for 2 or 3 spots in the team. So we absolutely have to be at our best for the next 4 months and just get off the shoulders what happened in the last game. So they're almost professionals and they don't need any advices from us, but
Yes.
they'll absolutely be focused on the next 3 or 4 crucial series that we have, and just go
Hmm.
for it now and perform at your best potential to give us all the joy that we had back in 2011.
Makes
So
sense.
this is
Makes
our best
sense.
chance to win the World Cup, as it's in India itself. So
Home.
we are
Yeah.
strong favorites. So we have to win it this time at any cost.
And yeah, and the preparation should begin. It's high time we start gelling the players, start making a good composition. Yash, your parting thoughts, if any?
Ah, man, just
No?
we are here to win.
Easy. That's
Easy
it.
as that. We
Yeah.
should be most feared team right now in the world, but
Yeah, I think yes, but sometimes there are some off days here and there. But yeah,
yeah,
I think we didn't have an off day here on the Cricket Corner podcast. I think once again, whenever there's Nachiket, Yash, Twitch for a minute, we had him as well. I think there's never a dull moment, and there's always a good, healthy conversation around the game of cricket, particularly Indian cricket. Stay tuned on the Cricket Corner podcast, because there is going to be coverage of the ongoing Ashes series. England 1-0 down. Rahman Ahmed, who's that guy? I completely forgot his name, but he's back into the test setup as well. The 18-year-old spinner. We'll talk about him in another episode, but for the time being, this is Nachiket, Vatsal, and Yash signing off. Ciao for now.
goodbye.